Hi again. This week we're going to have a look at Lightroom, and recently I was showing a friend how I import my photos into Lightroom, and I thought maybe it might be of interest to other people, so that's what I'm going to do today, show you what I do. So I'm just going to stick my memory card into my SD slot on my laptop and just wait. Okay. So now I'm just going to click on import. Okay, so this is the screen that comes up with import. I don't know if you guys have used it or what. I've left old photos on here for a reason, but I'm just going to go right down because the photos that we want. I just went out and took some photos in the garden, so I'd have photos to import. And this is going to take a while. But you can see on here that there are photos that I've already imported. So if we go up here to file handling, you can see here I have ticked. I'll just uncheck it, check it again. Don't import suspected duplicates. I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes you can't always get rid of all the photos that were on your memory card, and you just want to leave them there for whatever reasons you want to do that. So especially if you're going away, if you're on a trip somewhere, I just leave every photo I take on the memory cards until I get home. So now that we've got that, you can see some of these are being I guess darker grayed out and they're not checked. You can see these ones are checked, but hopefully eventually they'll all go to that darker grey and unchecked. So it might take a while to do that because there's 700 photos on here apparently. So while it's doing its thing there, let's just go over here. Now I have checked rename files. I like to give files their own name. I also like to try and use a name that helps me work out, where I was. If I used a specific lens or something like that. I mean, I know you can do that in a folder or something like that. But sometimes your photos get out of whack. So sometimes you might have a photo, you've taken it out of the folder to work on something, you don't get around to putting it back, and you've got no idea where it came from because your file name is this, like here would be like DSCF2226. It doesn't really tell you anything, doesn't it? So I like to change my names. So I have put a custom setting, but there are lots of options that you can choose from. So I chose a custom setting, and I'm going to do edit so you can see what I've got. So I've got the date. So I start off with the date, so the year, the month, and then the day. And then I have room for a custom text and then the file number. So whatever number is on the end of these, like 2205, will stay there, but not the rest of it will change. And you can change it to anything that you want here. So you can decide what you want. I suggest you play around with it if you've got Lightroom and you want to have a go at all of this and just see what you can do. I quite like what I have. So let me just delete this and we'll put all this back. So I have the date first. So date. If you click here, you get lots of different options for the date. So you can decide what you want to do. You probably don't need all 4 years for the date, but it doesn't hurt, especially, well, I guess it's not going to change centuries for a while now, is it? Anyway, so then you just need to do a dash so they're not all crammed in together. Now I want custom text. So down here it's got custom text, so I just put insert. I do the dash again. You can see here, up here, this bit here, you can see what I've got so far. And now I want the numbering. So we're going to go, I have to try and remember where it was. It'll be here somewhere. File name, number, suffix, I don't know how to pronounce that, but anyway. and that's what I want. So I'm going to insert that. Oh, okay, we'll just get rid of a couple. I don't really need it 3 times, and then that's it. So hopefully, I don't know why it's got file name. Okay, it's just got 001.raw, so hopefully I've got that right. Okay, so we've got that. We'll just do done. And oh look, you can see here now all those other photos that have just been like, they're faded. I don't really know what you would call it, faded out. They're not as important. And then here are all the photos that are going to be imported. So I need to do a custom text. Now, I don't know why, but sometimes when you do this, sometimes you have to put the name here and sometimes you put it there. I don't know, but you can click on whichever one. So we're just going to call this garden, and we'll just say macro. So I know these photos were taken in my garden, and you can see down here, there we go, we've got the date and all of that. I'm a bit worried about this number, but we might have to come back to that. So one thing that a lot of people say to me is they don't like to use Lightroom to import their photos because then they've got no say over where their photos go. That's not true. You can decide absolutely where your photos will go. So if we go down to this section here, you can see, like, I think Lightroom will just put everything in pictures or something like that. I don't want that. So I've got my desktop. Don't worry about the 2 desktops. I did that for a reason. I probably should change it back. I have a folder called 2023, so all my photos for this year will go into that folder. And then you can see I've got City, Great Ocean Road, the High Tea. Some of these probably don't really make sense, but anyway. But I've got a macro folder, so all my photos are going to go into this macro folder. And you can see there's 35 photos to go into it. But before we do that, one of the things that you can do too is if you've got, say you want to do, I'm just going to click on to 2023, and say you want to put them into a subfolder but you don't have it. Let's say I just want to start a subfolder that's all called my garden. So you can see here, there's the subfolder, and then here you can organize them by any way you want. So you can just put them all the photos into one folder. If you click by date, it will put all the photos into that subfolder according to the dates. So say you've been to New Zealand and you've come home and you've got thousands of photos on your memory cards and you want to import them all. You don't want to put them all into the same folders. What you can do is you can go into here and say do a subfolder called New Zealand, and then you do it by date. So when it puts all the photos in, it will do it according to all the dates. Now I don't want that because I just want all my photos to go into my macro folder. So if I have a look here, you can also see on this card there are photos taken on several other dates. I don't need those, and you can see there's a 0 next to them all, so it's not going to do anything to them. So really that's all I want to set up here. So now I just need to click import and the photos will start importing. Now if we go to let's just go to Bridge. I use Bridge to look at most of my photos. Bridge, which is part of Photoshop. I mean, you could do it in any sort of thing really. I go to 2023 and we go to macro. Here you go, here's the folder, it's the 12th of March. We click on this. You can see all the photos. It's going to look like there's a lot more photos here. because when I take photos, I do a JPEG and I do a RAW file. I take the JPEG in case I want to have a look at the photos on my phone. I don't always want to do that, but it's just easier to leave it set up that way. So once all the photos are here, you probably don't really need this bit because this has nothing to do with Lightroom, because I'm basically finished with Lightroom now. So all my photos are here. I would go over here, click on the JPEG. Once all those photos are selected, I do Control A. They're all selected. I press delete, and I get rid of them all because I'm not interested in the JPEGs. I only want the raw files. And then click that back, and there's all the raw files that I just took. So that is basically all you have to do. So the only thing you have to be careful with now, I don't know why, but I don't know if I'm the only person to find this, but I often find Lightroom doesn't show me, you can see there's only 35 photos. It doesn't show me the JPEGs, it only shows me the raw files. Anyway, that's how I import my photos. I hope that helps somebody, a few of you, maybe none of you. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave it today, and I'll catch you all next week. Bye.